it's hard to overstate what a precious thing a football ticket is. Even if you're a season ticket holder and you go regularly, like it is something that brings so much joy. To sort of dismiss attendance as if it's something that people will give up on a whim and aren't that bothered about in the first place is a bit rich.
Mistletoe and wine, everybody. Welcome to the Football Ramble preview show. The top two face off at Anfield and the Nuno Forest host Bournemouth. It's Friday, 22nd of December. I'm Marcus Speller.
I'm Luke Moore.
I'm Jim Campbell.
And I'm Andy Brassel.
Hello, it's Friday, everybody, and it's the last Friday before Christmas, Jim. Mm-hmm. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Remember when that commentator did that because it was the League One playoffs? He basically said, it's the most wonderful time of the year, the League One playoff final.
I thought you were going to get involved in the sing-song.
I could do. I think that's probably for the patrons, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think you want me to sing. You have to pay me these days.
Maybe we'll save it for the mailbag tomorrow.
That'd be lovely.
That would be lovely.
Maybe get your questions in. What Christmas song do you want Marcus and I to sing? And we'll do it. Like Bublé. I'll be the Raptor, you be Bublé.
Yeah, indeed. You do enjoy hunting people down, don't you? Well, before we get into the show, we do have an exciting announcement, everybody. Starting next Friday, we are giving you, the chance to win a brand new 50-inch Toshiba Fire QLED TV. Can you imagine such a thing, Andy?
Yeah, I've got one. Oh, Andy
doesn't need to imagine it.
Well, do you want to be like Andy Brassel? Then
exactly.
Tune in how you can win. Yeah,
we're not just giving one of the buggers away. We're giving away 3 of the things. So if a free 50-inch TV sounds like a good way to kick off 2024 to you, then listen out for details of how to enter. All will be revealed on next Friday's show. It is a step towards becoming Andy Brassel.
Yeah, absolutely. But the good parts of him.
Yes, exactly.
Not the boring bits. We've all got boring bits, Andy.
No, that's the next competition. Stop giving it away.
Yeah. What are your boring bits?
Oh, how long have you got? You want to see them?
Interesting would be the word I would use to describe that quite correctly. Well, gentlemen, Crystal Palace versus Brighton, 1-1. Wasn't boring, wasn't a classic, but I don't think boring would be the right word to describe it, Jim.
No, absolutely not. But it had some moments, and it was nearly in a way the game of the season right at the end, with Danny Welbeck nearly accidentally scoring off of his face.
Yeah,
against their rivals,
against their inexplicable rivals.
And this was a lovely little Christmas. It was almost like the Premier League was like, we're gearing up to Christmas. Have a little bonus present. A Thursday night rivalry game between Crystal Palace and Brighton.
Yeah.
And it'll be 1-1, let's be honest.
Yeah, as it always is.
Yeah. But it was...
5th time in a row that fixture's been 1-1.
That's wild. That is wild.
The thing is, Palace-Brighton is always really engaging. And the score never describes what has actually gone on in the game as well. It's always a complete fib.
Well, what should the score have been, Andy?
In your view?
It should have had more and Brighton should have won.
I think that was the general vibe. I mean, De Zerbi seemed to be a touch disappointed with the point, and Hodgson was delighted with the point.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Often the dominant team in these games don't win it. I mean, even when, like, say if you go back to the...
But no one wins it by the sound of it. It's always 1-1.
Well, because the thing is that them playing each other all the time is like a relatively new thing. Because if you go back, like, sort of 15 years, Brighton were really struggling, as everyone knows. They were in a bad place. Palace were in the top 2 divisions. And so this is like a rivalry that they're still, I guess both teams of both fans of both teams are still fully getting their teeth into. And there's so much that goes on in this game that the score never properly describes it. And I think even if you go back to, like, I guess the first real big one of modern Palace-Brighton, you think of the 2013 Championship semi-final playoff, where nothing happened in the first game, everything happened in the second game. And Wilfried Zaha, who was just about to join Man United at the time, just like picked them off with his absolute brilliance at the end. And Brighton were like, how the fuck did that happen?
Didn't Ian Holloway
there's a lot of the teams going, how did that happen? You can think of in this fixture a couple of years back, when Maupay scored that big dipper equaliser. Just absolutely from nowhere. I just remember Patrick Vieira's face.
Andy, going back to the playoffs, you've really skirted over this important issue. Didn't Ian Holloway step on a jobby in the changing room? Remember that?
Yeah, that might have been a story at the time. Yeah,
there was chat about there being some sort of excrement in the away dressing room, which was quite poor. But Ian Holloway did that little dance, didn't he?
Yeah. Did he have bare feet on?
No.
No, that would have been a bit of a
he-
shame.
he-
How quickly things can change.
I told you once I got offered potentially to do a show about metal detecting with Ian Holloway
Oh, yeah.
in his caravan. In his caravan.
Why on
Tell
earth
us
did you not
again.
take that?
Well, it didn't manifest. I obviously said yes, but it didn't manifest itself.
Why you?
I don't know, because I was doing radio at the time and it was like a radio thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, Ian Holloway likes to go metal detecting in his caravan.
Anyone want to go with him? Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I said yes. For the record, everyone, I said yes.
Yeah, but I think if you say yes, then you rule yourself out.
I didn't even ask for a fee. I was like, where'd
I'll pay
you need
you.
me? Yeah, where'd you need me? What time?
You've got to be paid in coins,
Yeah.
but, Holloway may pinch that from you.
Maybe all he ever finds is turds.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Based on what you're saying.
maybe you have to find the fee.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's it. You get to keep what you find.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yes, Brighton often score late equalisers in this game. I mean, Neil Maupay leaps to mind, of course. Speaking of leaping, Danny Welbeck with that great header to get the equaliser. Glenn Murray told him after the game on Sky that he's becoming a real salmon in the box.
I like it. I like
Becoming 33.
Yeah.
I love this idea that he's really, starting to get to grips with the game at the top
that.
level.
Well, salmon famously do like leap out of rivers to go to the place before they die, right? So I mean, maybe
Well, yeah, fair.
it kind of makes. I'm not saying Welbeck's going to die. I've got no
Or be eaten
information
by
on
a
that.
bear.
I was going to say, it's a bit fatalistic. I wonder if Danny Welbeck is due a really big 30s because he missed so much of his 20s.
Could be.
So maybe he's got more in the tank. Maybe he ends up playing until he's like 37, 38. I mean, I'd like to see it.
Well, there are strikers around who have enjoyed very, very good years in later parts of their career. And
Are you
talking-
saying he should go to Serie A?
well, I mean, Marcus, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Luca Toni leaps to mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Leaps.
Yeah, very
Literally
good, very good.
And you say, Brighton score late goals and stuff. Crystal Palace seem to always concede late on as well.
Yeah.
I think they're the worst in the Premier League for goals after the 75th minute or something.
How
So,
about that?
it's not a huge surprise.
I mean, both sides aren't being particularly punchy at the moment. 2 wins in 12 for Brighton, 1 win and 11 for Palace. Brighton also have failed to keep a clean sheet in their last 22 league games.
They're all about Europe now. They're big time, aren't they?
Yeah,
that's their thing, that they seem to always score, but they don't have a very good record in keeping the ball out of net. I'll tell you, he was also good last night. Pascal Gross, my guy. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, only Mesut Ozil, he's the only German who has more goal involvements, as we call them nowadays,
In the Premier
goals
League.
as it's in the Premier League.
He's going to end up
That's
being a main.
amazing.
He's going to end up being a main piece for Germany in Euro 2024.
Is he really?
No
That's great.
doubt about it.
That is great to hear.
They love him.
Not when they knock out England.
I was about to
but
say.
apart from that, it's great to hear.
Yeah, he's going to lead the chant. It's coming home.
Oh, he's going to do that thing. He's going to score a winner to put England out, and he's going to do that celebration that Andy Moller did
thing,
in
yeah.
Euro '96.
Still
Do you remember?
I do
Strutting
remember.
around.
I think
Or-
realistically, he's just going to have a good group stage. That's the way it's going for Germany.
Or Jude Bellingham might crush the ball.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like little ants.
But Roy Hodgson, though, on the other side of the ledger, he has denied laughing at Pep Guardiola and said he was laughing at an entirely unrelated matter. It was a joke he said earlier that I just remembered.
It's like when you're mucking about with like you getting in trouble with your sibling or something. Your mum says to stop it, and you're not allowed to laugh, and they say you're laughing. You go, I'm telling jokes to myself or whatever.
Yeah.
That's Roy Hodgson saying that, like in his 70s.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, come on, though. Do you actually think he was laughing at Guardiola?
I don't know.
I think even from the angle we saw it from, it didn't look like
No, I don't think he was, but I think that.
But we all
Hodgson-
hope so.
Oh, of course.
Hodgson has
Yes.
some funny faces at times, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
He said, unfortunately, as a high-profile figure, if someone was clever enough to catch me in a photograph, they can put whatever caption they like. If you want to put the record straight, that was it. Why would I want to laugh at Pep Guardiola? I really don't know.
Yeah, I think he was kind of like just looking around at the situation.
And they go, no, this is typical. Kind of, what a crazy thing kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think he was going, you bald fraud. But it would be brilliant if he was.
Maybe he thought that Pep was his egg.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
It's
egg.
just nice to see it ready to pop.
His egghead. Maybe
As
because
in he belonged, like Roy Hodgson had lost an egg and he went,
Yeah.
oh, there it
yeah,
is.
yeah, 'cause
Owl
he's
egg.
now, isn't he? He's now.
Oh, is he? Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
We got there in the end, didn't
Yeah,
we?
we did.
I like the idea of you thinking that Roy Hodgson just really likes eggs.
Just thinking, I mean, you can never tell if it's Christmas or Easter.
Imagine if Roy Hodgson, imagine if Crystal Palace scored that equaliser against Man
what have I
City.
done?
The camera pound to Roy, and he's just sitting on Pep, sitting on his head, like incubating his head.
What reason I would have to incubate Pep Guardiola, I don't know.
Oh,
Were
brilliant!
you sitting on Pep's head? Let's not take the piss here. So yeah, a point for
Gee,
Palace.
that's a good Roy impression. I liked it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, of course, that game is done and dusted, but we've got more Premier League games. We've got one tonight, for crying out loud. We've also got one on Saturday.
We do.
At 17:30, military time, as the Americans like to call it. 5:30, of course, to you and I. Liverpool hosting Arsenal. My goodness. And of course, Luke and Jim, two people that I have my hands on their legs right now, are recording a Ramble React straight after the game. So keep an eye out for that on Saturday night or while you're doing your Christmas Eve shopping. We know what you like out there.
I know what Jim's thinking. Arsenal better win this game or it's just going to be the most tedious shift he's ever done.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, join it. You'll
I'm
hear.
just going to be like essentially the night before Christmas Eve. Should have done all my wrapping by then. It should be really nice and festive, and I will be taking bullets from Luke Moore in my own living room.
Not if Arsenal win like 3-0.
Well, so get on it then, Arsenal.
That's the biggest game of the season for that reason.
Yeah, well, because Liverpool reached the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup on Wednesday, and that's probably as far as they're going to go in the contest, of course, or the competition.
Well, because they're playing football. We talked about it on the Reacts, didn't we?
Yeah,
on
no,
Wednesday?
I'm definitely not gutted about that.
No, you didn't sound it at the time.
No, I didn't want Middlesbrough.
Nah, definitely not.
Yeah.
But
Two legs though, mate. 2 legs. As you said, that's a lot of opportunity to get it right, if I remember rightly.
Jürgen Klopp wasn't happy with the atmosphere at Anfield, though, was he?
That's what I'm saying. So Klopp might actually, it might backfire and Fulham might take advantage.
Mm-hmm. We need Anfield, he said.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit Pep Guardiola. You know how sometimes he has he has a bit of disdain for the crowd at the Etihad. I can't remember Klopp doing this before. I mean, he may well have done. Forgive me if I'm missing something.
Is it because they've both come from German football where it's like pretty intense all the time?
Yeah, but they haven't come from German football yesterday, have they?
No, they should know it by now.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I thought, so when you talk about Pep saying it, Pep says it in this kind of weird way because he's obviously quite an odd character. The way Jürgen Klopp said it was almost like he wasn't saying maybe it's a breakdown in communication because he's speaking English as a second language, but he wasn't saying, "Come on, everyone, let's band together."
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, like, if you don't fancy it, give your ticket to someone else.
Well, the quote is, if it is too much football in December, and I thought, he's talking about players here and that, maybe they need a bit of a G-up, as you say, they need a bit more. No, he says, if it's too much football in December, if you are not in the right shape, give your ticket to someone else.
Can I just say that there is someone who has not bought a football ticket recently?
Oh, absolutely.
It's just not that easy, is it?
Look, I understand that I think this is probably a little bit of weird sort of internal gamesmanship, a little bit of internal mind games to make sure the crowd is really, really G'd up for Arsenal on Saturday. Because actually last season, until Granit Xhaka made a needless foul on Trent Alexander-Arnold, it was a little bit quiet, actually.
And Manchester United, the recent game, I mean, Neville said it was the worst atmosphere he'd seen
absolutely.
at
And
that fixture.
that atmosphere when it's really, really pumping is like a sort of legitimate 12th man, isn't it? But I think that quote in particular sort of crosses a line, really. I think it's hard to overstate what a precious thing a football ticket is. Even if you're a season ticket holder and you go regularly, like it is something that brings so much joy to your life and to your everyday. Absolutely,
depends on your support. Yeah,
of course. But with a team like Liverpool, it's a huge thing to sort of dismiss attendance as if it's something that people will give up on a whim and aren't that bothered about in the first place. Is a bit rich.
Yeah, I think he's got it wrong.
Is the term.
He's obviously trying to rally the troops and all that, and I understand that. But he's just got it wrong here, quite simply. And I know Liverpool, they've had an awful lot of success recently, won a lot of cups, and they've won an awful lot of trophies recently. And of course, when a team wins a lot more, then the standards and the expectations increase. I wouldn't, from the little I know, because I've hardly ever been to Anfield. They seem to still keep that atmosphere up.
Yeah.
I actually, give them all the credit in the world because they could become very expectant. And of course they are to an understandable degree. So I'm surprised I'm a bit surprised.
Well,
if I was Mikel Arteta, I'd be thinking mind games.
No, but I think this is what it is from Klopp's point of view. He's trying to make to guarantee that the crowd is really up and really intense on Saturday because that is something that's got into Arsenal's heads before. It's something Mikel Arteta has mentioned before. Like he went through it as a player. He had that situation a few seasons ago where they played the crowd noise from Anfield in training. Klopp knows that's the thing that Arsenal were vulnerable to and that gets to them. So I think he's trying to guarantee.
Yeah, if I'm Mikel Arteta, I would join in the mind game and go, no, we really like that. That'll help us if the Anfield crowd's really loud.
Would you say it like that?
Yeah. Wink, wink. We are filming this, Mikel.
He's a calm and measured individual, so I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure. The one thing I did enjoy from the interview was Jürgen Klopp saying "smash them," when describing
Man
what they should
United.
have done against Man United.
Yeah, so he did say he said that maybe it's because we played Man United and we didn't smash them, which is weird.
No, I liked it.
I liked it as well. The fact is that he didn't say we didn't beat them or put in a big performance. He was like smash them because he knows they're a bit crap at the moment.
Yeah.
We're
Utterly smashable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is also set against the recent history of him getting annoyed with that interviewer about the 12:30 kickoff, right?
He does appear like really generally crotchety this season.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's, I guess, an underlining of is there too much football? Yeah, because he's not getting enough sleep.
Yeah, I guess probably not.
It
right?
is,
It's a
understandable.
barely suppressed petulance at the best of times, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, this week marked Mikel Arteta's 4th anniversary as Arsenal manager, which is quite something. You think, blimey, he's been that long.
That makes him officially the longest serving Arsenal manager.
And like the replay of.
We all agree on that.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you agree as well, do tweet us to congratulate us with that.
Indisputable. Yeah. I think the replay, Jim, of his opening press conference as Arsenal coach this week.
I haven't seen that. I don't remember what it was.
He explains how he's going to change the culture at the club, and you're either on board or
John Cross
you're
just
not
laughing at him.
But it's amazing. Like looking at it now, and you're thinking, he actually sat up there and said that stuff, and they're in a right state, and he's done all of it.
Wow.
He's like talked it into existence like Mourinho. It's amazing.
Like Rishi Sunak's 5 pledge. 5 pledges. Next.
Yeah. No, he spoke a lot about standards, didn't he? And almost sort of implied that if you didn't kind of buy into his non-negotiables and that sort of thing, you'd be out.
Yeah.
And we've seen it happen.
That's
with
exactly
many,
what they
many
needed.
players.
That's what they needed.
Absolutely what they needed.
Yeah, it's like a Spanish guy voicing Dave Bassett going, get fit, because if you don't fit to do it, you won't be fucking playing, will you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically
exactly
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Arsenal haven't won at Anfield in 11 years.
I know. Yeah, it's a massive,
Call it a bogey,
massive.
Graham.
Well, yeah. I mean, to say the least, it's a huge thing.
They came close last time.
They
didn't
did come close last time, but from 2-0 up. So,
Oddly,
it's
though,
still
you're right to say they came close, but in other sense, they were lucky to get out of there with a
At
point.
the end of it, they
It
were,
was
yeah.
such a strange
mad
match.
game,
Yeah.
really mad game. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I think you may remember last season, Alex Zinchenko was at fault for Liverpool's equaliser before Roberto Firmino's goal, and he'll be playing again. I think that will be a potential area to watch. Salah versus Zinchenko. I imagine Declan Rice will be kind of popping in to try and help out with that situation, because in the game at the Emirates last season, he chose Tomiyasu over Zinchenko, and he did a really good job up against Salah one-on-one. I think that would have been the plan this season as well. That was really the first time we saw Tomiyasu play left-back in a high-profile game, if I can remember rightly, and he's used him there a lot since, but he's obviously out injured now. So that is that's going to be an interesting area if you are Mo Salah.
Yeah, well, it's always an interesting area if Mo Salah's there, of course. Arsenal have the best disciplinary record in the Premier League so far this
That
season.
is surprising.
It is surprising considering that they've had 2 red cards.
Yeah, and also given that their coach is a maniac.
Well, I think that's why it's surprising, right?
Yeah.
Because we're thinking about the
Do you
dugout.
reckon he's just drawing all the attention
Well,
away?
I think so.
23 yellows and 2 reds. Arteta's got 18 of those yellows. and 1 of those reds.
and 3 car park fights as well. In which, to be fair to him, he is undefeated.
He is. Absolutely, in those car park fights. There are a lot of players this season who are, of course, 1 booking away from having Boxing Day off. Keep your eyes on them.
Yes.
Do keep your eyes on
The
them.
Kevin Nolan prize.
Yeah, Darwin Núñez is the only player on that list who will be playing in this game.
Thing is, I can't root for that.
No.
I can't root for him to sort of give away a penalty and get a silly yellow card, because if he does that, it will also score like a hat-trick of deflections.
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't imagine Darwin Núñez thinking, I could get Boxing Day off here.
No.
He's just thinking football,
Yeah,
chase that
definitely.
ball.
Christian Romero's on that list as well, and you have he's got no idea he's on the list. No idea he's even going to be suspended if he gets another booking.
Yeah.
He just thinks that he gets Boxing Day off every year. Oh yeah, I do that. No, it's because. But what do you think about this game, Luke? I mean, it's a huge one at the top of the table, of course, Liverpool versus Arsenal. And
Well, I think
that you'd say because of their home form, Anfield, Liverpool would be slight favourites, perhaps.
Yeah, and the West Ham game, West Ham were poor. We talked about that on Wednesday. What's probably more indicative, and it's a Carabao Cup game, slightly different, but what's more indicative is the Man United, the game against Manchester United, where Man United were really, really poor. Some people would say, they played the way they played on purpose and they got what they wanted. If that's what they want, I mean, I feel for Man United fans for the rest of the season. But on the Liverpool side of things, they were very disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't remember who it was who was saying it. We were in the studio and someone was saying it was like Salah and Szoboszlai had never played together before. Like, it looked really, really disjointed. They need to sort that out against Arsenal. What I suspect may happen, though, is that Arsenal will show considerable more considerable amount more ambition than Man United did, which will then leave spaces for Liverpool because that's much more kind of indicative of how Arsenal play compared to Man United at the moment. And then the motivation is to go top of the table at Christmas. I mean, it's
but Liverpool were great against West Ham, and Salah,
they were.
Salah started on the bench. Obviously, Szoboszlai started.
Scored,
so you're saying that perhaps
I think
leave Salah out the team.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
No, I'm very much not saying that.
Right.
You asked me my opinion. Don't give me my opinion.
Okay,
I've got plenty of my own.
I know. Yeah, thought I might help you.
No. I think
Here's a softer, more rounded one.
No, I'm not interested. Here's a little one for you. A big hot take to take away from it. I think Salah will probably start the game.
Right.
Yeah.
But you've even included the word probably in that sentence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got to catch it a bit. Yeah.
True enough. Okay. Well, we shall see who wins that game. We shall see who will have Boxing Day off. Harry Kane, over in Germany, of course, at the moment, has said he will send his English friends a photo from the beach on his first proper winter break. And I like to think that it will be from an English beach. I
was about to say,
he's freezing away.
He's not playing football, lads.
He's sort of like girding away, going, I'm bloody loving it
Tottenham
here.
Beach.
Yeah. Have you ever done the Christmas Day or New Year's Day swim?
Absolutely not.
I did once,
I've
the
never
New
done
Year's Day.
Any good?
Brilliant.
Was it fun?
It was freezing. The conditions were preferable as much as they
quite
could
calm.
be. So there was no wind, for example.
Yeah. Where, what beach was it?
Down by Lyme Regis.
Okay. That's a nudist beach, isn't it?
Solely.
It was that day.
Yeah.
That's the day it was founded.
Very nice.
Yeah, it
People
just
couldn't help themselves.
Yeah.
all of my friends couldn't believe it, and I said it was a coincidence. And needless to say, Andy, I had the last laugh.
I remember throwing a dart in somebody's leg before, thinking they're just going to move out the way, just joking around. I was about 20 metres away and thought, I'll just lob this one towards said person. And they just seemed to watch it, and it went just plonk right in their leg. And I was like, you're supposed to move. I didn't do it too hard. I wasn't going to announce that to the world, but as you know,
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Take his driver's licence away from him.
Why is he just so odd?
Oh, you meant to move.
Yeah.
Just ran him over.
Why is he so weird?
I don't know, but I like it. I want more of it, and I am very confident we're going to get
you'll
it.
get more. Yeah, you'll get more. His life has been so different to the rest of us because he's obviously been involved in football for such a young age.
Yeah.
And so his stories you'd expect to be really boring, which of course they are, but they're also undercut with a huge amount of weirdness.
Yes.
Like a very odd man.
I
isn't
love the
Yeah,
thought of
he's
that.
like someone from another planet trying to fit in, isn't he?
he? Yeah, observing humans for the first time
Yeah.
and trying to ape their behaviour.
Well, yeah, because if you throw something at somebody, they obviously don't want to be hit by it. So you're just
Yeah,
free to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not
It's
your
their
fault,
fault.
is it?
Yeah,
isn't
it's like if you try and burgle someone's house, they're meant to stop you. But if they don't,
What are you doing, you absolute target?
Yeah. Just to further kind of emphasise the point about how weird he is, why are all his stories about throwing?
yeah,
Because
Yeah.
everything's a competition,
You
right?
vary
With
it.
himself.
Yes.
Vary it. Did you have a nice Christmas? Well, what I did was
I threw a party.
I got this apple. Yeah. Oh, here we go again. Yeah.
I mean, we all remember the film thing, but the thing that sticks out in
What? That he's only seen
That
like
he's-
5
he's
films.
seen
Because he
like
just
8 or 9
thinks
films.
DVDs are for throwing.
Yeah.
Well,
probably.
exactly, yeah.
Throw it in the
that's
machine.
It's a discus. Come on.
But we've spoken at length about how much he doesn't like films. But the thing that sticks in my mind from that story is where he talks about how with the England youth team they would take them out and like take them to the cinema, basically just give them something to do on trips. And he'd hate it so much he would just sit there and try to think about football instead of taking the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly his attention span is not particularly high.
Yeah.
No.
So as again, he's got to throw something.
what
He's got
you
some
saying?
kind of yeah, very good. European Super League time, chaps.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Is it though? Is it?
Yeah.
Talking of attention spans.
Yeah.
The European Court of Justice ruled yesterday that UEFA and FIFA cannot block a breakaway European Super League and that their monopoly of the game is unlawful.
Yeah, but when you sort of read into it at all, it also means like it's just the European Super League is not going to happen, is it? And actually things can carry on exactly as they are.
It says-
it seems to be what everybody wants apart from two very angry Spanish clubs.
It says, yeah.
Two very angry, skint Spanish clubs.
Yes. It says quite explicitly
Yeah.
elsewhere in the judgment that this is not an endorsement
No.
of a Super League.
I mean, the verdict seemed like, it was quite, but then you read it and you go, so it wasn't the rules that were at fault, it was the way they implemented the rules.
Which
wasn't
they've then since changed anyway, right?
Yeah, well, apparently they needed updating, but
Yeah,
it was
so,
the
and UEFA have already done that, haven't they? So what happens next with UEFA is nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It does.
I'm not sure nothing does happen actually,
Ooh.
and I think if you look at a couple of things really, but basically the wording of the judgment and the structure of the new competition, which again looks very. I mean, I hate to agree with Javier Tebas, the president of La Liga, but it does still look kind of back of a fag packet sort of business. If you watch that little film, as well as it looking like an 80s marketing film, there's also far more questions than answers to actually come from.
It looks like the start of a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah,
it
looks
does
like.
a little, doesn't it? But I think you can. Miguel Delaney said quite rightly on OTC that both sides would claim victory. He said this before the verdict. Whatever happens, both sides will claim victory, and that's sort of what we're getting. Because I think if you look at the formatting of it and how much it actually resembles the new Champions League in many ways, and it could always be argued that the new Champions League format from September is Super League by stealth. I think it's the fact that this was never about, as Florentino Perez really grandly said, it was saving football, breathing life into European football, all this sort of stuff. It was about the right to organise your own competitions and the right to find bigger sources of funding. That's all it was ever about. It's not about the format, and that's why they've come back with something like the Super League. To frame it as a sporting concept is not right. It's just not like that. But I think you can disagree with what Real Madrid and Barcelona are doing and also look at this judgment and say, you know what, the fact that UEFA and FIFA are governing bodies and they're also tournament organisers is a complete conflict of interest. And football is very, very bad at recognising conflicts of interest.
Fair. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. We are going to talk a bit more about this from a slightly different angle on the mailbag, I believe. So
yeah, why have they named the competitions like they're Mario Kart competitions?
Oh, it sounds like that's
good,
a
at
really
least.
perfect
Star
way
Cup.
of putting it. It sounds like people who've never watched the game of football have been challenged to come up with a sort of project, essentially.
But they've gone like, so we're going to go for the we're going to go for the usual kind of Olympic type thing. Yeah, star, gold and blue. No. It's already there. Gold. Yeah. If you're going to do that, do gold, silver, and bronze. Everyone gets it.
Absolutely.
Imagine saying that your team is the.
Don't do bronze in football.
Yeah, maybe
I think
not.
That's it, isn't it? But even where does blue come in though?
Exactly. Oh, we're the European Champions (blue) competition. What?
Yeah,
it's fucking
but
embarrassing.
also the idea that they've put forward is that it's based
That's
on
the worst bit about
sporting merit, and it's this and it's that, and it's really open. It's really free. But if you are, say, Real Madrid, who are one of the teams leading the charge on it, to actually get relegated out of it would take you 3 seasons where you play abysmally in every one of those seasons. So it is. Essentially
we'd all like to see it.
We'd all love to see it.
Yeah, it'd be like South American relegation. It'd be a River Plate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd take forever.
But also, just to pick up briefly on what Andy's saying, they're also the coverage is sort of misses the point anyway. I understand the governance issue, and I understand why there's potentially a conflict of interest, and perhaps this is an issue that needs solving more generally. But the reality is the Super League didn't happen not because of incorrect governance. No. It's not happened because people don't want it. No. It's not happened because German clubs don't want it for different reasons. Fans in this country and elsewhere don't want it and will never accept it. As soon as the judgment came out, about half an hour later, Man United released a statement saying, we're not focused, it doesn't change anything for us. Yeah. So it's not going to happen anyway for a number of different reasons. What it seems is going to be the case, as you've touched on, Andy, is that perhaps you'll get to a situation where the Champions League or whatever it may be, European competition, isn't going to be administered by another company, basically, which is essentially what it seems like the whole thing is compromising towards, right? But then UEFA will probably fight tooth and nail to stop that happening.
But that's the point about the ruling was obviously UEFA and FIFA, as we've said, they can't block the Super League, but I believe in European law it can still be blocked.
Yeah, it would still need to be approved under competition law, which is what the whole thing is about. Yeah. But I think the bottom line is, as you said, how can you have a European Super League which has Barcelona and Real Madrid in it? I think everything changed so much in the first failed attempt. I think what Luke was saying about all the English clubs, and particularly you look at Manchester United coming out because they're really worried about how it will look in front of the fans. After what happened first time, they're really worried about that fan backlash. And it's amazing that this happened 3.5 years ago. But actually, what those largely English fans did has still had an amazing effect. And I think it's worth thinking about for fans.
We should never forget that, genuinely.
Yeah, I agree.
We as I said earlier, we will be talking more about the Super League on tomorrow's mailbag because one listener...
But don't let that put you off.
No, but I did say a slightly different angle because one listener has asked us whether English football could actually be better with a Super League. Tune in tomorrow to find out what we think about that. Right, gentlemen, back to the Premier League. Luton Town host Newcastle United in a key clash for their relegation survival, of course. We're talking about relegation already because it's that time of the year where we think, who's top at Christmas and who's down the bottom at Christmas as well. But obviously the big news coming out of Luton Town's camp at the moment is Tom Lockyer was released from hospital on Thursday morning. So obviously we wish all the best to him. And Luton have quite rightly said, look, we're not going to give a sort of an up-to-date account of how he gets on. So, we'll sort of leave that there, of course. And as I say, everybody wishes him well, of course. But good that he's been released from hospital. Also been agreed that the Bournemouth and Luton game will be replayed in full later on this season.
More games.
Well, yeah.
You got 60 minutes of football there, but it doesn't count for anything. So
it's interesting because in Spain...
it's replayed from when it stopped.
Because I just remember there was a Real Madrid game that stopped in the 84th minute. I can't remember why. Didn't they all go back for 6 minutes or something?
There's a famous cup final in the 90s between Depor and Valencia where there was an absolute deluge, so that's called the game off, and they all came back for the remaining 8 minutes.
So it used to be the case.
Can you imagine that? Everyone
for a cup final.
Oh.
Didn't it used to be the case that if it stops, I'm not talking about the Tom Lockyer situation,
Sure.
which of course was horrific, and there's far more important things than football matches. But as a general discussion point, didn't it used to be the case that if it, I don't know if it still is in this country, but if it went beyond 75 minutes, the result stood?
I don't know.
I think they did.
Might have been. That does ring a bell.
Yeah.
Does
Anyway,
ring a
we
bell.
wish him all the best, of course.
We certainly
The most
do.
important thing is his health, of course.
Yes. Nottingham Forest host Bournemouth in Nuno Espirito Santo's first game in charge.
The Nuno Forest, you said in the intro. I
do you
didn't
like
think
that?
about that. I do like it because I'm
Thanks.
from near that part of the world, and it's a very beautiful forest.
Oh, yeah, you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting it mixed up with the Cotswolds geography.
I'd love it.
geographically.
I'd love it if they renamed it the Nuno Forest.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
You'd be chained to a tree protesting.
Again.
Yeah,
Why are you chained to a tree? It's just a name change. It's symbolism.
yeah.
Chop the tree
Harmless
down.
sponsorship.
Actually, New Forest is more really Southampton territory, so
Right.
I wouldn't get involved anyway. I wouldn't go there.
Is that why they've got the tree and the badge?
I wouldn't. Yeah, it might be. I wouldn't venture that part of the world really.
It's too beautiful.
It's very. It needs to be untouched. It needs to remain untouched.
Why don't you chop it all down? Yeah. Seems very in vogue at the moment to
Yeah.
chop trees down unnecessarily. Well, yes, so Bournemouth are going to the City Ground to face those tricky trees, and we'll hope to chop them down in a way, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Will Steve Cooper be topless in the Bournemouth away end as predicted on Ramble Reacts?
I really hope so. I think you're onto something there. Megaphone.
Yeah, because it's quite mild out for this time of year.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, that's what he's thinking, is it?
Yeah, get yourself in the
I
trench.
wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
but it's actually
It was
very warm.
temperate.
Yeah.
I think the Forest fans would understand it and go, that's fair enough.
So the big rumour today is the aforementioned Roy the Boy Hodgson,
Yeah.
when he inevitably steps down in the summer,
Swoops down.
Yes.
swoops down off his perch. Steve Cooper may slot in there.
Yeah,
It seems like a nice fit, doesn't it?
it would.
It
Does
does.
seem
They're
like a
looking
nice
for
fit.
an upwardly mobile young manager. They tried it before, didn't quite work out for them. Steve Cooper will walk into another Premier League job.
Absolutely.
Not at the very, very top end, but he will definitely get one. Crystal Palace seems like a lovely fit for him. So, Steve, if you're listening, don't take your top off and get into the Bournemouth end because it might sully your excellent reputation. And if you are going to do it, maybe pat a big eagle on your chest.
Don't do that. You look like a proper nutter. But I would like to see him do a what would it be? The 23rd of December day swim in the Trent.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Swim up it, yeah. Or walk on it like Brian Clough used to. Yeah.
Apparently he did.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We didn't have social media at the time.
A little bit of time. He's clearly got some talent in that squad. He seems to have really unlocked Dominic Solanke as well in a way that
Yes.
a lot of managers have tried to do.
Yep.
I didn't
but
think he had it in him.
Well,
I
was
genuinely
starting to
didn't think
that
it
as
had it-
well.
had
But
it in him.
clearly, he's starting to deliver on the promise that a lot of managers saw in him.
But Andy, I think you and some other people were talking about how it was like Iraola was doing an okay job. They just weren't getting the results, and you thought this would come, right?
Yeah, but having said that, clearly he was very, very close to getting the push
Right.
because of those results.
Yeah.
Because in the Premier League, you just can't go that long without getting a result. Those are empty words basically. I think in terms of this, it's a very difficult fixture for Forest at this point in time. And I think if you're a neutral Forest watcher, you're thinking, at least they've done this in time for the winter window. They've done it in time to be the main protagonists of the winter window, haven't they? All over again. I mean,
He's already
there is nothing as certain as that they're going to go and buy 10
Yeah,
players.
but Nuno already said in his opening press conference, it's going to take me ages to get to know all these players. There's like way too many of them
Especially
already.
when 10 new ones turn up in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to how they operate in that window.
Obviously, that whole part of it, the recruitment part of it, will have nothing to do with them. And of course, he's fine with that because he's used to that sort of situation.
Get Connor Cody back in Nuno's grip.
In his grip.
Yeah, get him back in there.
Like it.
I think the player they want back is Awaniyi, right? But he's out for till March.
Can't
isn't
sign him though.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, if someone could sign him, Marinakis would probably try to sign him again.
I mean, that's the most difficult thing, isn't it? For a club of that sort of standing to go and get a goal scorer in January that's going to keep you in the division.
Difficult.
Like that is the most difficult transfer window task.
Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, Andy. Before we move on, former Bournemouth boss, Gary O'Neill, will no doubt be delighted, of course. Wolves are playing Chelsea on Christmas Eve. Chelsea.
This is a home game for him.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Chelsea would be more disappointed, although Chelsea do have a dubious penalty to look forward to.
I was about to say, imagine if Chelsea get an absolute present in the last minute of the game on Christmas Eve, I'm going to have to go to Gary O'Neill's house myself.
Yeah.
And say, look, it's going to be okay.
Sky are going to have a graphic ready for it because
big
it's such
time.
an inevitability.
Little present graphic.
Yeah, I
opens
think
up.
so.
Gary O'Neill's in there looking sad.
I want Wolves to win the game, I'll be honest with you, because I want Gary O'Neill to have a nice Christmas.
We all do.
Don't we all?
We absolutely all do. And
I want him to have a so solid Christmas.
we also want Chelsea to get into Christmas in the bottom half, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm out for any team other than my own being in the bottom half. All of them.
It's touch and go.
Yeah.
Fulham could potentially get out of there as well.
Well, so Fulham have got more leg room in the top half.
Fulham can win the
Stretch
league,
out.
finishing 9th. They're in the bottom half. Oh, dear. Gentlemen, I want to bring this to the table. We're going to Scotland. It's been long overdue.
It has been,
Actually,
yeah.
we did
it on Wednesday.
yeah.
3 days.
I'd say that's overdue.
We literally had no recorded opportunity to do it more since the last time we did it. So it's been too long, yeah.
Well, Ross County, we're particularly talking about this time. They don't often get a mention on the show, but my goodness, Derek Adams has ensured that they do today. He had quite a sensational rant about the standard of Scottish football after he signs 1-0 to defeat to Dundee last weekend.
Before we play it, can I just say, if you want the context of how sensational it is, I watched it in the kitchen of my house. I watched it again, and then I called my wife in to watch it with me a third time.
Now, bear with us because the clip we're going to play is 1 minute and 13 seconds long. It's about a quarter of
The
what
original
went on.
one's about 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. We had to obviously edit it down for you, but please, just get a load of this.
Derek, a disappointing way to lose the game this afternoon. Your assessment on today's defeat against Dundee?
Yeah, I mean, we were the better side in the afternoon. We had the better chances throughout the afternoon. We had most of the play. We created some good openings. We should have been ahead in the game. But that takes nothing away from the fact that the game was really poor. The standard is shocking. Really, it's one of the worst games I've ever seen. It's just, I've been back here and I see the standard and I think, wow, any chance? If I'm a spectator and watching that today, I'm thinking, is this what Scottish football's about? It needs to get up its game. And if I'm a paying customer at this moment in time, I'm not coming back to watch that, I tell you that.
And I suppose from your own point of view, you can influence that in terms of making Ross County a good team to watch.
We're trying, but choices on the pitch. You've got to be better on the ball. You've got to be better executor. And I've left a team down in League 2 that's miles better than this team. Miles. And that's saying something. We had the bottom budget in League 2 and we're 100 times better than this. 100 times.
I mean,
Absolutely astonishing.
it really
He's only been there a month.
It's incredible. I love it how it snowballed so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was shocking. The standard was why are people coming to pay to watch this?
It's like an existential crisis unfolding before our very ears.
I can't believe it, honestly. And he was asked about his comments and, would you like to maybe,
Well, no, because then the Scottish football experts came out and said, "Oh, yeah, he'll regret saying that."
Yeah.
He's going to.
do you know what he said? I stand by it.
Yeah, what he
Did
actually
he double
said,
doon?
He's quadrupling done.
what he actually said was, I'm trying to get us moving up the league, trying to push the players on. People can say that's maybe devaluing them, etc., but I'm trying to get them moving forward and get them thinking. Get them thinking.
Get them thinking they're absolute garbage.
It's top. It's absolutely top.
Oh man, amazing! Look, I hope there's more to come. I really do.
Well, maybe we'll keep an eye on Derek and Ross County.
He's got something of a checker past himself anyway, with different bits and pieces happening where he's been managing.
Is that right?
So keep an eye out for future transgressions. I would say. Anyway,
Are you going to call him a good footballing man then?
he's a proper footballing man. None of this laptop business.
It's time.
Come on!
Pep also says you're
Come on!
an encyclopedia of
Come on!
football. An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
I know this is many years too late for this, but can you show a bit of decorum?
I'm pumped. I'm
That's
absolutely
right.
pumped. I've got the listenership behind me. Twitter's been amazing all week. They've been so supportive. So I can't wait to let them down.
Well, I think that's as good as it's going to get for you. It's a simple game of categories.
Andy, can I sort of stop you there? I would bite your hand off right now for a Jim Campbell win.
Oh, 'cause you're lineal champion.
If Jim wins today, I'll be all right with that.
Fucking pathetic. It's what I have to deal with.
You know what this is like? It's like
ABL.
It's like the last week of school before Christmas, where it's a quiz or you're watching a pirate copy of ET and everyone's being really naughty.
The title's
you
not on the
three
line.
are going to be uncontrollable, and I know what your Friday speller. You're not just any day of the week speller. You're Friday speller.
He's not got the
I'm
keys
watching
out
you.
yet.
I'm
What
watching you.
a lot of the people on Twitter have been saying
Here
to
we
me
go.
is, how come Luke never gets to go first in the first round? That's what they've asked me.
Really? Well,
Mind games
it's a
starting
simple
early.
game of
Absolute
categories.
Andy's
weasel
choice.
one.
Andy's in
Everyone.
charge, everybody. Andy chooses.
It's a simple game of categories. If you go too slow, I'll pay Gary Neville's orgasm, which will leave you 7 seconds. Marcus won a tiebreaker last week, of course, to take the lineal belt away from Vish and go top of the table.
Oh,
we'll
top of the
have
table
to
as well.
see if that happens again. And Jim is going to go first.
Fuck it, I never get to go first. I never get to go first. Marcus, even you must be a lot.
This is,
I think you
this
have a
is
point
due,
there. You do
this
have a
is
point
due to the... Right, you two are both lost already. This is due to the seat in which you sit. I prefer to sit in that seat. If you were sitting here, I always go to the person to my left.
Right, good to know
So
for next
you'll
time.
you'll know for next time. Anyway, the
Jim got here an
category
hour
one...
See that towel on the back of that?
It's like
He arrived with a tent and a bottle of pins.
Jim is like Rod Stewart tickets for Jim. He's back in there at 4 a.m. Right, let's go. Let's go.
Right. English clubs
Ooh.
that have won an international trophy. There are 14 answers.
An international.
Could
Well,
get
sorry, European
clarification?
competition?
Yeah, European
Yeah,
competition.
European competition.
Okay.
Not the World Cup. You can't say West Ham winning the World Cup, okay?
Yeah. Stop giving us answers.
English clubs that have won an international continental trophy.
Man City.
Manchester United.
It's your turn now, Luke.
Liverpool.
Chelsea.
Arsenal.
Oh, this is good pace.
Nottingham Forest.
Oh, like that.
Aston Villa.
Oh, you fucking wanker! That was my good one.
West Ham.
It's Torres
Ooh.
to give Chelsea a place in the Champions
Spurs.
League final. The headline
Very good.
Ipswich Town.
Love
Oh,
that.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Everton.
This is an exemplary round.
How many left?
Can't be many.
There can't be. How many left, Andy?
One,
Let's have a bit of Gary Neville,
two,
Andy.
3.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final.
Newcastle.
That was
Oh,
my one.
very good.
Bollocks, I'm out.
Fulham. If that three-way intercontinental. Yeah.
Oh, he's a listener. He's a listener.
There can't be
there's-
any left.
So there's one left.
There's one to go.
Wolverhampton Wanderers. Some people would argue against that.
Yeah, Honved.
They're not in here, though, are they?
They would.
They're not in here.
Unofficial, though.
So what's the situation? Because there's one team left.
So that's
There's one to go.
and Jim went first.
yes. So it's just as well I got that wrong.
Okay, so I've got to get this right to tie it up.
Yeah.
I mean, look, filibustering won't stop me playing this.
Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Portsmouth, Anglo-Italian Cup.
Oh,
Anglo-Italian
Oh,
Cup.
that's very good, but
Fuck's sake. Doesn't count.
It's a shame.
Leeds United.
Oh,
We're missing one.
Mother.
So is one for Jim.
Well done, Jim.
I'm
And
surprised you're not protesting against that.
Well, it's not a major trophy. Let's do it.
What Intertoto is?
Well, it's top flight trophy.
Okay.
Yeah. The Anglo-Italian Cup, I mean, look, as much as I'd like to claim it,
Okay.
right, I'm also not sure they actually won it. Let's leave it here and move on to the next two.
All
I'll
right,
just leave
fair
you with
enough,
this.
fair enough.
They definitely competed in it.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
all I'll
really
say.
annoyed that I said the other day that Fulham won the Intertoto.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
let's not undercut next week's category, which is English clubs that have won an international trophy where there was a punch up at the end involving all the staff.
Yeah.
Right, so 1-0 to Jim.
Shit, it's a poor start by me, but that was a good standard.
Yeah, I
very
think so.
good.
I was
Leeds of
impressed
course
you got
won.
Newcastle.
Leeds of course won the Intercities Fairs Cup
Yeah.
twice, the predecessor to the UEFA Cup. So 1-0 to Jim. Category number two, players who were in either squad for Manchester United 4, Newcastle United 3 on Boxing Day 2012. That was Sir Alex Ferguson's final Boxing Day game.
Squad. In the
Yes.
squad. Okay.
There are 36 answers,
Okay.
therefore.
Jesus, this is tough. Who's
And
first?
Marcus is first.
He might well have been suspended, but I'll go for Wayne Rooney.
That could not be better news for me, that.
Unbelievable.
Jesus, okay.
This is annoying. And now, well, no,
There are some names on here, is all I can tell you.
Darren Fletcher.
Very good.
David De Gea.
God, that's the only other name I had.
see, sometimes not good go first because you'd have
No.
probably had Rooney as well.
Yeah.
There are some big names in here, and there are some weird names.
Let's try with Anderson.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's good. It's not right.
Jim for the win.
So Robin Van Persie. Was he fit?
Jim
Oh, fucking.
What did you go for Anderson for?
I'm never going to win.
Yeah,
I'm never going to win this game.
dear. Now, Jim may not see it like that, and that's his right not to, but I feel like the Liberal Democrats right now. the Lib Lab coalition is one in my eyes.
What a glorious
What
victory.
year was Anderson at United?
Oh, I mean, he won,
1982.
yeah.
Shut up, man.
He won the Champions League. He scored a penalty in the shootout in 2008.
Yeah.
I'm just not very good. I'm not very good at the timing of
Yeah, it's
that.
hard.
You say 10 years ago, but to me, it doesn't really mean anything
Well, clearly.
because I'm ageless.
Well done, Jim Campbell.
Thanks.
I didn't even come close this week.
Has the lineal title at Christmas.
Well done,
that's
mate.
nice.
Like Arsenal.
I needed that.
A good important for Arsenal.
We'll see, won't we?
Oh, dear. Well, thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble preview show. Part of the Acast Creator Network. Do join us tomorrow for that mailbag, everybody. Follow us on Twitter, currently known as X, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Football Ramble. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app. The keys are in the lock. The gate is open because it's Christmas, everybody! It's Christmas! Have a couple of days extra for your bad selves. Say goodbye, Luke Moore.
Go fuck yourself.
Say goodbye, Andy Brassel.
I'm off to find Santa's special key.
Nice it.
Say happy Christmas, Jim Campbell.
Have a brilliant Christmas, everybody.
Absolutely right. See you on the mailbag.
Santa's special key. Sounds a bit pedo.
Thanks for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're feeling extra generous, why don't you like this video? Why don't you like this video?